He's one of the only successful pro bodybuilders of our time who shifted his focus from the pro bodybuilding stage to building Gaspari Nutrition, a brand that started back in 1998 and now reaches health and fitness bodies globally and is one of the most successful and sought after science-based sports companies in the world. As a top professional bodybuilder from the mid-80s to the 90s, winning the very first Arnold Classic back in '89, the Mr. America, not only as the NPC Nationals, the Mr. Universe, and was a three-time runner-up of the Mr. Olympia. He is a true testament to a no-excuses approach. In 2011, actor Ryan Phillippe and boxer Shane Mosley presented Rich with the Muscle Beach Hall of Fame Award. He's also featured on many magazine covers all over the world over 3 decades, and had the Arnold Classic Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2013, and the IFBB Hall of Fame back in 2004 was inducted into that Hall of Fame as well. I am pumped to get super pumped with the great Rich Gaspari as we dive into Rich's mindset, how from top pro bodybuilder to owning a world-renowned sports supplement company across the world, his success habits and routines, biggest challenge, and of course his no-excuse approach to a world-class life. So with great pleasure, I want to welcome to the show the Dragon Slayer, Rich Gaspari.
Hey, great to be here.
Great to have you, Rich. We're looking forward to talking to you, diving with you today. So, Rich, we kind of go off the show with the first question. So right now, what is the most exciting part in your life at Gaspari Nutrition?
Well, what's exciting about Gaspari Nutrition is every day is exciting to me. It's just constantly growing the company. I'm still very passionate about coming up with new products, new innovation. Like I said, every day to me is an exciting day to, continue to grow something that was just an idea, 20 years ago and 18 years ago, starting the company, and now being a successful company, still out there and being more of a legacy brand that, I've established as that, pro bodybuilder transitioning to, businessman, all on an idea one day, when I was just at home saying, I want to make a product line.
And you had mentioned that you started this brand from your mom's garage.
Well,
basement.
What happened is, people know the success of Rich Gaspari. You gave all my accolades as a pro bodybuilder, winning all the titles. But, once I won all those titles, I went through, back then, this is going 20 years ago, I went through some difficulties. It seems like, life is a roller coaster going up and down. At that time, I had an injury, herniated disc in my neck, could no longer compete, had a gym that wasn't really making much money, went into a financial situation where I had to basically, go into personal bankruptcy and then start over again. So I decided to start Gaspari Nutrition off an idea, and saying, what may be a great bodybuilder was, using supplements at the time. I believed in using supplements. So back then, supplements were very, very basic: protein, BCAAs, creatine, these type of, glutamine. From there, I decided to make products because I believed in them helping me to become a successful pro bodybuilder.
So what do you think you took away as a pro bodybuilder? What would you say is the main aspects of tips or principles you took from a bodybuilder that you applied into being a successful businessman?
I think having a positive outlook and, being a pro bodybuilder and being a champion, I always looked at things in a positive outlook. I always went into shows with the goal in winning the show. Bodybuilding keeps you very structured when you're getting ready for a show. It's a 12-week process. So I was very meticulous in writing everything down. I kept journals of my diet, my training. So that kept me organized to be, a businessman and, starting my company. So those parts, I used in my supplement company. But then, things are, slightly different. Bodybuilding is a very I business, you know, it's all me and me doing all the work. When you get into a business, you have to have other people that you rely on to grow that business, and they have to do different parts of the business to have it grow. At first, it's all you as well. Was all me starting this from the start, from shipping to, you know, manufacturing, you know, finding places to manufacture, market. I had to do it all. And then after a while, when you started growing, you start hiring people, then it changes.
Interesting. So when you look at your life right now and the success of the business, because the brand has grown tremendously big in the last 18 years. It started back 18 years ago, correct, Rich?
Yes. Like I said, I started 18 years ago with an idea to start selling products, using my name as the anchor to the brand. You know, from there, the brand grew on its own. And it's funny because when we're looking at the brand, you know, a lot of young kids will know Gaspari Nutrition. A lot of people will know Gaspari Nutrition for the brand. A lot of them don't even know that Rich Gaspari was this high, you know, bodybuilder who, you know, was in a second in the Olympia and won the Arnold. A lot of them would just go, wow, I didn't realize you were a bodybuilder too. So, you know, we do a lot more now. It's funny, you know, Rich Gaspari is back in style like bell-bottom jeans. There's a whole big millennials are into more of the classic physique. That's a new it's all a new type of, you know, going from regular bodybuilding where guys at 5'8" or 260 to looking at guys, looking at their symmetry, making sure they can do vacuums, having, you know, a different look that looks not as more aesthetics instead of just size. So it has changed. So I'm becoming more popular, you know, with the internet and YouTube and people looking at what I did when I competed. So, I mean, that's what's happening today.
How old are you, Rich?
53.
53 going on to, what, 25?
Yeah, I still feel like a 25-year-old kid. Working hard to look young, and, you know, I train 5 days a week. I have my own training facility in my office here, over 4,000 square foot of all, you know, high-end gym equipment that you would get at any gym. So it's great to have my own, you know, gym to train in, you know, so I always have no excuses not to train in the gym.
If you guys can see, guys, on the camera, but he actually has some pretty ripped arms right there, Rich there, and he's 53 years old. He's in pretty impeccable shape, so we can probably take some lessons from Rich on how to keep in shape over 50. So with that being said, Rich, running your company, you know, obviously, you know, you've shifted from pro bodybuilder to businessman. Your company is one of the most successful sports companies in the world when it comes to the growth of your business in a very fast time frame. What do you attribute now as the principles of success for you? So the things you do right now on a daily basis to really ensure your company is continually growing successfully with your customers, your athletes, your team, your employees, everything.
Well, first it's keeping a good, making sure you look at what's going on in the industry. So I make sure I'm the type of guy that goes out into the industry, seeing what's going on with current products that are out in the market, current ways of marketing. I mean, I've seen shifts in the marketing where, you know, if you're going back 10 years ago, a lot of it was done in print. Today it's changed totally with, you know, you have your phone that you can basically have all the information on this phone, so that a young millennial, you know, will go on that phone to find out information about your product. So YouTube's, social media, you know, getting yourself popular in different ways of learning the market. So having a pulse on what's going on with the market. Again, staying organized and with a positive outlook, you know, in working, you know, knowing what works, and, you know, once you find out what works, staying with that path, but also looking to make changes if you need to make changes. You know, learn from your competitors, constantly look at what other competitors are doing, but have your own unique style, what you're doing with your business.
Can you define in your terms, in Rich's terms, what innovation for your business means for you?
Well, innovation is looking at, you know, new products that are out in the market. It becomes rather difficult because, you know, the laws with FDA in the U.S. and I know even Canada makes it very difficult to come up with, you know, new products that, you know, we have a law called the SHEA, which, you know, you can't just come up with new ingredients without having what's called an NDI, you know, where you'd have to have that product sent to the FDA that you're going to make it. But there's still ingredients out there that if they're whey-based or whether they're amino acids, you can still sell those products. So we have products that are peptides, where we have one where we have amino acids in a peptide to form an IGF-1. So that's still within U.S. Considered DSHEA compliant. Looking at what's been out there and come up with new development of products, as well, and look at what's out there today with different herbs that are prior to the laws that we have. Is anything prior to I think it's 1994 or 1992, it could be still considered a supplement. So looking for those things like herbs that could be used, for anything, for excelling. And, we're sports nutrition. Everything is to build muscle, to build strength, to build endurance, to lose body fat. These are things that we look for, in a supplement line.
And one thing I also learned at the beginning of the interview, and I also was looking on your site before the interview as well, is you have a manufacturing facility that you partnered with over in Georgia and Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes, we did. As one of the issues that was going on with my company is as we started growing and it started getting more and more competitive, and sports nutrition arena became more and more cluttered, more players in the industry, what was happening is that we were getting more and more competition where it was driving prices down lower and lower and lower, where profits became almost impossible. As a manufacturer, we have an advantage to have products at say a 25 to 30% advantage over someone going to a third-party manufacturer. So that has helped out tremendously. Going from third party to having your own manufacturing, you can make products a lot quicker. If you're with a third-party manufacturer, it can take anywhere between 8 and 12 weeks to make a product. So trying to figure out forecast, you have to really put a lot of money outlay in products so that you don't run out. Under what I do now, I can have products made within 4 weeks. So that's a much quicker response and not having to have as much product in stock.
Gotcha. Interesting. So when it comes to running your team, and obviously, your marketing staff, your sales team, your even your staff over in the warehouses, what processes do you employ to really keep your team motivated, dedicated, passionate? What's your vision in the company? What are your values? What are the things you really do to really instill that culture, that powerful culture in Gaspari Nutrition?
Having meetings with all the different departments are very important, that we're all on the same page. Communication amongst all the departments, in marketing, in sales, in shipping, in, manufacturing. We all make sure we're all, it's all transparent, that everyone knows what's going on, and having this positive outlook. Like every day, I try to keep everyone very positive in what we're doing and the new things that we're developing and the excitement of the company. I mean, I'm very much, a cheerleader always, with the employees to tell them that this is going to be a great thing in what we're doing and developing, the newest product and keeping people motivated within all the departments of your company. So, it's constantly communicating amongst them, having meetings, having structure on what you're doing. If, we have a way to launch a product, make sure you have, standard operating procedures on how we're going to launch that product. So each product, all the different heads of the different departments know exactly what's going on when, having a product launch.
And your company, you said, obviously right now where you are in New Jersey is 12 to 15 people, correct?
We have here, it's small because we have 12 people. I have outside salesmen as well. But basically what we have here is sales, marketing. Then the other departments like shipping, manufacturing, that has to do with my partner. So, we have constant, I just before we spoke here on Skype, I was on a meeting for, forecasts and, inventory, so that we were all on the same page and what was being made, what we have in inventory, what we have, that's going to come into inventory. So we all have to communicate, like I said, amongst each other. So here it's a smaller team. Here we're going into the different marketing aspects, how we're going to market, whether it's through YouTube. I have this whole full gym that we're going to be doing some YouTube videos, with Rich Gaspari, myself,
yep,
and other athletes. So we want to grow that awareness. I want to educate the consumers. A lot of what we're doing here is like, my accolades. I want to be able to show that to, the current viewers and current consumers that are out there that may not know who Rich Gaspari is, because, I knew Joe Weider very well, and he said every year there's a new buyer of supplements, or people that read magazines, as Joe Weider would look for, and it would be that, that aspiring 13-year-old kid that's going into 14, that's going to get his first weight set and then start taking products. And so the same thing here, I look at kids, they were, 15, 16, now they're 18, 19, 20, 21. They're now becoming part of buying supplements. So I have to constantly get those people in, and show them who I am.
How do you stay sharp as in business, like mentally? What do you do to recharge? What do you do to revive or renew yourself to make sure that when you go into the office or you're at home, you're recharging your battery to make sure you're always on point at what you do?
I mean, I work long hours. I do, sometimes 12 hours a day, even working on weekends when I travel to various shows to promote the brands. I go through what they call surging, where I surge and work. And then, then you can take time where you take a break and recharge, go on, vacation. I have a daughter. So, I spend time with her and going away with her. I love doing, I have hobbies. I have a boat, scuba dive. I, do different things to recharge myself. So, when I'm totally into being away with my daughter, I try not to talk about business and just focus on her and, spend time with her. So, when I do get back into working mode, I'm all recharged to work.
Is there a routine or ritual you do daily to help, yourself stay on point, like a morning ritual you have, an evening ritual you have, or something that you do to, keep in that zone?
I pretty much have the same ritual every morning, get up and, schedule myself and what I'm going to do for the day, writing down notes of what I'm going to deal with in the office. I used to train, in the morning. It's become a little harder. So then what I do is I basically set my day up for, what I'm going to do from, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning until lunchtime. And then lunchtime, right now we're on my lunch break, I normally go to the gym and, train, which I just walk 10 minutes away and train, and then, train an hour and then get back to work.
Okay, gotcha. But in the morning, when do you start work? 7 o'clock? 8 o'clock?
8:30.
8:30. Okay. So there's nothing in the morning you do to kind of get yourself geared up for your day. Like, for example, some of the listeners or some of the people that come on our show, have morning things like they'll do, whether it's a morning power run, they'll have the meditation, they'll have a reading ritual, they'll have a journal ritual, they'll have something that they'll do as a success ritual, whether they're an entrepreneur or an athlete, to get themselves into state or even in that zone before going into the office.
I mean, I always start my day, with a positive outlook. I'm not doing any type of reading but it's a funny thing. Like, I always bring my, stretch my arms out right when I get out of bed and saying, that I can be able to handle anything that I can handle. There's always bumps in the road, but I always tell myself today's going to be a great day. Whatever comes my way, I'll be able to handle. Something that I read that, when you stretch out right, bringing your arms out right, you'll be able to handle any type of, task that comes your way, or any kind of adversity that comes your way. Like I said, I've always looked at adversities as learning, to be able to overcome them and move forward. When you look at something that happens to you, you got to look at it as a bump in the road more than something that's going to be tragic. Even if it is tragic, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. But I mean, my ritual would be more of just starting the day positive and saying I'm going to have a great day, and getting to the office, writing down notes of what I want to be able to establish, through that day, and then just getting there. And training for me, like midday, is kind of like where I just train at lunch, mm-hmm. and I don't do any kind of work. I just go there, train for that hour, and then get right back to work again.
Gotcha.
So I'm recharged.
Gotcha. Now, you have a daughter as well, right?
Yes, 9 years.
She's 9 years old. So how do you balance busy Rich Gaspari time with, daughter time with her? And what's her name, by the way, Rich?
Sophia.
So how do you balance time with Sophia so that there's actually that good father-daughter time, but still you're still focused on business. Like, what would you tell listeners who are in business and going like crazy all the time as a tip or suggestion to make sure that, you know, their daughter gets that attention or their focus to really, you know, enrich that relationship over time?
I have visitations like with my daughter every other weekend. I have her for the entire weekend, and then during the week I have her for, you know, after school I pick her up. And what I do is if I have to take her to work, you know, when I get, you know, take her from school and bring her to work for an hour, I leave work early, and then, like I said, I spend time with her, with quality time, instead of sitting there doing work. I say, this is my time with her. I'm going to, you know, shut the phone off. I'm going to spend time with her. And, you know, I believe, because I went through a divorce, you want to spend quality time, not quantity time. So if that time is quality, I think she'll remember it more than just having her there with me every day, and I'm busy every day working and, you know, shoving her off to play on a computer game. I don't think that's, you know, that's not quality. So I think the time I do spend with her, whether it's, you know, a couple days a week, is quality time that I'm just spending with her.
Okay, great question. I'm going to take you off a different kind of question here for you, Rich, before we go into our peak 5 questions. I want to ask you, so in the industry you're in, obviously you're in the bodybuilding, fitness, and wellness industry, you know, really promoting and building an impeccable, epic brand, as Gaspari is. But one thing I find in the industry, I'm sure many other people do, is a lot of ego in the industry, a lot of ego and fear-driven results because of you know, lifting, getting bigger, all these kind of things. So how do you, in the industry, how do you, I guess, as a person in business, really kind of balance that stuff out, where basically you are coming from an approach as not so much ego-driven, but more so as abundance or you know, innovative, creative thinking? Because you obviously, we can, you know, balance those two. How do you kind of balance those two out in your business or with your team or yourself when you kind of expand and build upon what you do?
Well, I'm not like new to the industry. I've been doing this for 18 years. So when I first started and the company was growing, you know, there was egos involved, having the big booth and, you know, throwing away tons of shirts and giving away stuff to, you know, the consumers to really, you know, think that was building a brand, you know, trying to go to every show to see if that was going to help. I mean, today, I look at it differently. I look at what is going to bring ROI, or return on investment. You know, whether going to that one show makes a difference, whether, you know, you should maybe, we do stuff like digital takeovers. So if we go to a show, I would go to almost every show. Now what we do is we may not go to a show, but we'll do a digital takeover on, say, any of these magazines like, you know, Muscular Development, or, you know, some of the Canadian magazines, Inside Fitness, and we'll do a takeover when they cover that show. So most people, the people that are going to go to that show, there's only going to be, I don't know, 1,000 to 10,000, 20,000, what big it is. But when you're online and you do a digital takeover where you're going to be covering a show, you can be there, you know, with your brand, advertising it with a takeover on that page, so that people can see your brand, you know, your branding the whole time, and getting, say, 100,000 people watching it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we used to give away a ton of stuff, you know, with ego, you know, have the biggest booth at the show. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter having the biggest booth. It's having the best quality booth when you're at a show, if you are at a show, or whether not to be at that show at all. So you have to watch ego and look at more, what are you going to do with return on investment? That's
a very smart answer, Rich. What's one thing in Gaspari you haven't done yet that you really want to do?
I want to grow more. I'm watching a lot of the newer companies grow through YouTube, and we have done a little bit of that, but I really want to expand on that and use that as a marketing vehicle and really grow our YouTube channel. I know most, like I said before, it was magazines. Now it's right on your phone, and kids can go on there and, you know, get information out of there. So I would think that I want to expand more of that through our marketing. Get into the mass market, get some brands to go into some of the places like the drugstores. And most of my brand has always been a niche brand that has just stayed with the, the bodybuilders. I mean, our brand is much more than just a bodybuilding brand. It's a fitness brand. So, we're going to keep the specialized, bodybuilding products for those markets, like we talked about earlier, like Popeyes, but maybe certain products that we have that are more mainstream will go into Walmart. So we're going to go after different markets as well.
Gotcha. And obviously right now you guys are going to be heavy into Popeyes with Philippe and Bernie and all them guys, right?
We were very strong with Philippe, Bernie, Aaron, and we're going to do it again, Paul. We're going to do it again. What I've been able to do is, I'm a workhorse. I visit places all over the world. I know guys personally. The personal relationships are the biggest difference in success in business. We're not just selling, a cog. You're selling a lifestyle. I sell myself. When I sell something, I sell myself, and, I show my passion. I show that, what I'm doing is, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in my products, and that shows. When you show passion, it resonates outside, and those people that are there, talking to you, customers, want to buy that product. And that's not fake. I don't sit there selling product because I'm a salesman. I'm selling products because I believe in my product.
And you can totally tell whenever you do a video or you a magazine ad, you can tell that's pretty transparent in your advertising.
Well, that's what's very important. I think, I'm not fake. I can be very honest about, I have had things in my armor. When I talk about, I've been divorced, I've lost money, I've been through bankruptcy, I've done everything, not all good. But when you learn from those things, that's what can make you successful.
Well, I want to mention this one thing, Rich, as well, that we talked about before we went in live about, that I mentioned to you about how I appreciate you being authentic and real with me prior to engagement, and how, things can happen to people in life, whether they're good or bad, but mostly bad. And people can make, these accusations wherever they may be, online, in a magazine, about this guy did that, or that person did that, and judge people based on that means, which is totally inaccurate. Which I really found, impressed with you, is how you are real about everything that happened, but yet you stick to your guns of your values. And most people hide behind that. They hide behind this fake mask. And I give respect, because guys don't realize what happens with business. What actually the challenges that people can go through. And you went through a lot, and all of us go through a lot. But that really shows, I think, loyalty and respect, Rich, which a lot of people don't get. And that's one reason why Gaspari is going to really, take off in even bigger strides for you guys.
Oh, like I said, I'm not a guy who believes in giving up. I believe in always being honest with my consumers, giving, like I said, there's people have thought that, I went from being a pro bodybuilder to having this super successful business. I went from a pro bodybuilder to having severe injuries that I couldn't afford. A lot of the things that I did, went into personal bankruptcy. From there, started Gaspari Nutrition, built it to over $100 million company, went through a bad time personally through divorce, had to go through business bankruptcy, and then rebuy my company, started over again, partner with a manufacturer, and do everything I can to grow the company back. And, the person who invested in me is, my partner. He goes, you know what? You're one of the most dedicated, driven people that I've always watched on the sideline. Why wouldn't I want to be a partner with a guy like you? So, I take pride in that. I take pride in that, I'm the type of guy that won't give up, that I will persevere and believe in what I do.
It's pretty evident, Rich. You can tell, and that's one thing people don't get is what actually happens inside of people who are in business, or whether an athlete, and all the ups and downs and the drive, and the 12-hour days you have to go through every single day to make that stuff happen, which is evident with what you've had to do, the last few years, and even the last 18 years of building your business from your mom's, house to, being all over the world. So it's pretty evident there.
Well, it's been really cool. It's like, no matter what, I built brand equity. When you have brand equity, that's the most important thing, is building a name. So even with difficulties that Gaspari went through, as soon as we came into, I knew not the secrets, but what did Gaspari need to do when it went through this difficult time? Bring back innovation, bring back marketing, bring back, making sure, we had product, bring back the relationships and visiting accounts. I'm almost somewhere every weekend, where I'm talking on the phone to customers and building those relationships back. Once you do that, you're going to be successful. Just keep doing that.
Let's go to the peak 5 questions. Rich, ready to go?
Yeah.
Number 1, do you have a coach or a mentor right now in your life?
No, besides, reading, books or watching videos on guys like Tony Robbins, for motivation. I pretty much, I'm pretty much doing it all on my own.
Gotcha. Do you have a mentor though? Any mentors? Would you say your partner would be a mentor, or any mentors in the past?
I mean, mentors, my dad was a mentor. He was a guy who, came from Italy to be, to come to America with a dream to, for the American success story. So when I listen to him, what he said is, I came to this country for you to have a better life. For me, that meant something. He came from Italy as an immigrant with no money in his pocket. So I said, you know what? I got to take, advantage of that. And I'm, an American citizen and doing what I can to grow in this country. So, he was a big mentor. Joe Weider was a mentor. Besides being there, when I was a pro bodybuilder, I would be consistently, in communication with him, right till when he died. I got to speak at his funeral. So Joe Weider was a big mentor. Arnold Schwarzenegger, reading about him and, knowing him, when I went to California at 20 years old, I saw, Arnold was then this big time, actor who would take time to talk to me, when I went to World's Gym and Gold's Gym. So those were, people that I saw as, people in my lives that, were mentors to me.
Excellent. Number 2, Rich, what is your most influential book you've ever read?
I've read Good to Great, business book. I think that kind of influenced me to, what I needed to do to get Gaspari Nutrition to go from this small company to this, big company of doing close to $100 million in sales.
Excellent. Number 3, what is your most influential quote?
Never give up. For me, that's my quote. It's just never give up. Just keep just plugging along.
Excellent. Number 4, if you could tell your 20-year-old self one lesson, what would that be? And that would be what, 28 years ago?
Yeah, 28. Yeah, I would say, what would I tell myself?
20-year-old self.
I would tell myself to, I was going to make a joke here, is, get a prenup. that would help you a lot. But, I don't think I would have changed anything in my life. I've done a lot. One thing I was very proud of is, my dad, like I told you, is like, I got into bodybuilding when I was 20 years old. Not 20, I was 15, but I was going to move to California at 20 years old. And I quit school, and my dad thought I was nuts because I was going there. I said, I'm going to do this in 1 year. If I don't do it in 1 year, I'm going to go back to school. I was in pre-med, and I came back, a year later, became a pro bodybuilder, all the successes. And then right before my dad died, he said, you followed your dream. You did, even though I told you not to do this, you did it, and I'm really proud of you. So, I don't think it would really change anything from that 20-year-old kid that aspired to be. I knew that I wanted to be in the fitness industry. I knew I wanted to be a top pro bodybuilder, and I followed my dream. As me saying to someone else, my 20-year-old is follow your dream. What you want to do, make yourself happy. Don't do something that you don't like. Do something that you like to do.
Mm-hmm. And your 20-year-old, when you were 20, you were competing as a pro by then, weren't you?
I was already a pro.
Yeah, you're already a pro, so there you go. Get a prenup then.
Yeah.
Number 5, if there were no limits to what you could contribute to in the world, no limits whatsoever, what would that contribution be?
I would, love to have, more to, the people that don't have as much as, we have. We look at a lot of waste and just having overabundance of things, and and to help others that don't have that ability. And there's a lot of people out there that have great abilities but don't have the resources to do it. So, it would be great to help out those people that have the drive that I had, but just don't have the ability to do it. So I would, like to help people that have a drive to do things in life.
What's inspiring, Rich, too, as well, is you started your company 18 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you started your company?
I was in my mid 30s when I started my company. So I was not a young kid. I wish I started earlier, but you understand I was doing the bodybuilding, and I started at 20, competed up into 30, up to 35, 34. So once I was done competing, that's when I decided to start, Gaspari Nutrition.
And exactly, look where you are right now to this day, right? So, Rich, what is your definition of mindset in your eyes?
What is my definition of mindset?
Of the word mindset to you. What does it mean to you?
Mindset is just looking at things overall in a positive light. Keeping yourself in a positive mindset for me is like looking at things in one way and trying to make that a positive way. Even when you're in turmoil and there's white noise and negative things happening, is if you can have that mindset of looking at all the positive things, even when there's bad, you'll make it through it.
I like that, Rich. Rich, anything else you want to add before we end our show? And I'm going to have listeners also find out where they can find you online, all your products, everything else in between. But anything else you want to add before we end our show, Rich?
No, I just, like I said, to become successful is, some people become successful and stay successful. But you look at people and, you look at them from the outside in and think that, they just had this easy life, and it's not necessarily so. And, I want to motivate others that have difficulties, that say, well, I'll never do that you can do it, that you can push yourself to be better. I'm not saying you're going to have a successful global company, but you can always better yourself in life. That's, what I love to tell people. And don't give up on life, and don't give up on what you can do, and always do things that make you happy. Go into a business that you enjoy doing, because if you do something through passion and not just money, you'll be a lot more successful.
That's an awesome way to put it, Rich. I appreciate that. So, Rich, where can everyone find you online? Obviously, GaspariNutrition.com, correct? GaspariNutrition.com, or you can, find me on Instagram under Rich Gaspari, Facebook. I have a Facebook fan page, Rich Gaspari. YouTube under Gaspari Nutrition, or Rich Gaspari. So, I'm out there on social media every day, putting quotes or having, workouts that I put out there. So you can find me out there. Can you share any new products right now that you're working on that you're going to be releasing here fairly soon?
We have some really great products. Right now, we brought out the legacy products that made Gaspari great were the Haladrol, Plasma Jet, Super Pump 250. Well, all those products, we just released Haladrol about a month ago. We just released Plasma Jet the last 2 weeks, and now Super Pump next week. So we have the legendary products that are coming out. We have new products coming out. We have a product called Precision Protein, which is a protein that's developed by Glambia that has embedded enzyme technology. It's a hydrolyzed whey isolate with what's called embedded enzyme technology, that the ingredient itself, or the protein, is surrounded by a phosphatidylserine. When you add water to it, it releases leucine, which is part of the branched chain aminos. So that's a really cool cutting edge protein. We have another product called Hyper Amino, which is an amino acid product with branched chains, glutamine, 50 milligrams of caffeine that you can use every day throughout the day. It's an ingredient for recovery, but also some energy. We have fat burners. We're coming out with arson. We're coming up with testosterone boosters. We had Novadex XT. Well, new Novadex XT is coming out. And there's so many products. I have about 12 new products that are lined up that we're going to be coming out with, and more for 2016, 2017, and 2018.
When's Precision Protein coming out here? Precision Protein.
Precision Protein is coming out next month.
Mm-hmm.
That will, we're making it available in the U.S. and also in Canada. Hyperamino, it just got released, so that's our amino acid formula. But I'm very excited about, Precision because, we have some really edgy products, but Precision is basically a new protein that has something very different, like I said, with the embedded enzyme technology, releasing the leucine peptides.
Now, will that be available in Popeyes then here up here in Canada?
You will have it available in Popeyes. It's a little bit more difficult. You have to get an NPN number with Canada. So when you come up with a product, then you got to go through the process of getting that product legally into the country.
Gotcha. But as far as Gaspari products, it can get up here in Canada. We can get them all on Popeyes, correct?
You can get them. You can get all the products, Gaspari Nutrition, in Popeyes and other outlets, but they're a big supporter of the brand.
Fantastic, guys. There you guys heard from Rich Gaspari. But before we end our show, Gaspari, we have a little ritual we do every time we end our show. It's the bicep pose. You gotta flex your biceps, Rich. Look at those pipes, guys. There you go. 53 years old, Rich Gaspari, the man. Go check him out, guys, online. Go follow him on Instagram and Facebook, on Popeyes, anywhere in the U.S. as far as GNC, other product places you can find their products. Will you guys be at the Olympia as well this year?
We have Olympia with a large booth, so come say hello there. So you'll see me there.
Excellent, guys. Well, thank Rich for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And guys, share his message with Facebook here, guys, and we'll look for you guys having you guys again. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate your support.
Thank you.